Hey guys, Dark Prometheus here. I wanted to make this video because I want to make it before going into training camp and we can kind of see how close I really got at the end of the season with some of these, but also going into training camp, what I could get right or wrong here. So we'll kind of go into it. 7 hot takes, but really kind of an 8th in this one. So my first one. Ruben Hippolyte, who's the Bears' 5th round pick this draft, will win the Sam linebacker role in this defense. Now, Bears, Dennis Allen wanted to be a little bit faster on the defense. They were lacking a lot of speed. That goes with the fact that they let go of Jack Sanborn. He goes to Dallas to go play for Eberflus's defense in Dallas. I think that really comes to the fact of getting faster in the linebacker role is that there's a couple of other guys they brought in, arguably Howard Nichols from North Carolina. They brought in, it was an undrafted UDFA guy. I feel like he probably has an opportunity. But also Dennis Allen did say he might play a little 3 safety. Another great name. Major Burns of the LSU safety coming in. UDFA again. Positions wide open behind that. We could see him fight for a role, especially in insurance coming off of Brisker not able to finish a season. You also have a Bayer being 32, so it's kind of in there. You could see some more injuries from him. However, I think he was banged up only a couple times last season. Safety is one of those positions. If you have a good pass rush, your safeties don't have to be like insanely good, but if your pass rush isn't there, you're gonna get ate up in the safety if you're not getting a pass rush. So there's my first one. Good hot take. I think it's pretty measured in that. It's a wide open position. We can see Hippolyte there. We'll kind of see how that goes. Now Newman. The Bears' 6th round pick taken at 195, I think it was. Now with him, he's a very, very interesting player. Plays 3 years left tackle at Holy Cross, comes over, plays at Michigan State on the inside at guard. A little bit smaller in the hands and the arm length in there to play that, but then goes to either the Shrine Bowl or Senior Bowl. Don't remember which one. I think it was the Shrine Bowl. Goes there, does some center work in front of the Bears, and the Bears actually like that. Now, my big thing here is Newman's about the same build as Dahlman is, about height, weights, and I think also in the arm length as well. I think he could win the backup center job. Another area that's wide open. Doug Kramer's there. Are you really going to move Jonah Jackson after the failed experiment that happened in LA with the Rams? You could. However, it's probably not something you want to do unless you're down to your 3rd or 4th center. So maybe you're in there doing it. I don't think Stromberg really has an ability there. At the end of the day, I think it's wide open for Newman to take that and kind of run with it and be the backup center. Or be the 3rd center if they need to pull in Jonah Jackson. I say it now, though. If you're doing that and Jonah Jackson moves in the center and your reserve guy is Newman, in reality, you just want Newman to be your center and Jonah Jackson stay outside at one of the guard positions. If Newman can snap the ball, and that's fine, which I expect he'd probably get a lot of work in that to begin with, as opposed to Jonah Jackson. But if he has a slide in the middle, I feel more comfortable with that because he has the guard help from either guard. It's rare that you have a center on an island, except if it's on a blitz, things like that. So handling those defensive tackles, things that typically you have guard help with that. My third one, and this is probably the one to pay attention the most. Not the hottest take, but I think it could happen. Trapilo will start week 1 either left tackle or right tackle. Not a big stretch by any means. I think it'll ultimately be left tackle because I don't think you move right over to left. Because the issue with have it is right, if you move him to left, he's automatically starting. There's no competition there. And then Braxton Jones coming off an injury has to learn right tackle, and then Kieran Abigaji has to learn right tackle. I just don't think that's a good move. However, on top of it, Abigaji's probably going to have to learn right and left tackle to be a swing tackle. So that's one thing. Braxton Jones, kind of with that. If Trapilo beats him out and Braxton Jones is healthy by week 8, now I think the week 9 is that. I think we'll see Braxton Jones traded. You're not going to pay him a lot of money. If Kieran Abigaji can play that swing tackle role and you're fairly confident that he can play that if there's an injury to Wright or Trapilo in the season, and Kieran can play that, you brought him in, he's had a year, he's probably more healthy than he was last season. We should be seeing a bit more recovery from his injury coming out of the draft. I think Braxton Jones is traded. Now, this isn't some big thing where Braxton Jones is traded for a second or third round pick. Like, that's crazy. You're trading a guy towards the end of his first contract. You're trading him because you're not re-signing him, and you're not giving him a big deal at left tackle. So you're kind of moving on. So you're not going to get a lot of value from that. Maybe a 5th or a 6th from that. Would you do it? I think if you're going with Trapilo, he's your guy. Braxton Jones is there. Say you trade him. Now, with that being said, do you recoup a pick if you end up trading for a guy like Breece Hall? I don't know. That kind of weaves us in to 4. Bears trade sign a free agent running back to complement Swift, and Ian Wheeler beats out Travis Homer. So it's a big one. Now, it feels like Travis Homer's been in the NFL for so long. In reality, the guy's only like 26, 27. It feels like he's been there forever. Probably because he came in the league what feels like 7 or 8 years ago when he was 20, which seems like an eternity at this point. Or maybe it's because I feel like I'm getting old, because we all are at this point. However, with this idea, I think it is something the Bears do. Now, would they trade for a guy right now? I don't see that happening, but you can't rule it out. I think, though, signing a free agent running back is the biggest thing. Now, there could be reports of maybe the Nick Chubb. That's one thing. I do like the Nick Chubb idea, and here's why. We're not asking Nick Chubb to be Nick Chubb from 3 years ago. We're asking Nick Chubb to come in and maybe give you 100 good carries in a year. That's about it. Now, last year, I think the Bears had about 300 to 350 carries. A little bit light at times in the running. Maybe Ben Johnson was to go about 400. We'll see how that goes. Last year, the Lions had about 534 carries in total for the entire team. So maybe you're looking at Swift carries at about 250 to 300. Then you get Chubb about 100 carries. You have maybe 25 to 50 for Caleb that's designed. And then you split the other ones between Roschon Johnson and Kyle Monangai, who is your 7th round pick. That's what I'm looking for. You're not looking to give Chubb 300 carries a season. Can you get him to give you 100 good carries? I think you're good. On top of that, maybe you have J.K. Dobbins, which does have a history of every season having an injury, typically around soft tissue or ligaments, things like that. He sprained a lot of his knees, things like that. So do you really want to go with that? Maybe you go with Nick Chubb into this, even though he's 29. You give him a lower deal and you go with that. On the flip side, maybe UDFA comes out. You never know. They brought in a kid from Texas State, they have a couple other guys coming in. You have Ian Wheeler. I think he's going to beat out Travis Homer in this. Hopefully he stays healthy. I'm hoping we see a lot more with him coming through. I thought he played great last preseason before he tore his ACL. I think he could be a guy that comes in and beats out Travis Homer. Obviously, we went over 4. Obviously, 3 happens. Braxton Jones was traded. In the trade, running backs you could see. Rumor has it Bryce Hall from the Jets. I don't see that happening. However, he's requested a trade. Issue is they don't really have a running back other than that. I don't think going in a year where you paid Fields, was it 20 to 25 million for 2 years, and you're going to put him on an island without a running back? I don't see it. I think you can get a buy, at least for the Jets wise, going with a Fields and Breece Hall. You don't really need a second or third back because you're going to run some option with Fields. But I don't see any depth behind their running back room, so I don't see why they would trade us a running back. There's a couple other things that are interesting around the league, but ultimately, I just don't see it. My 6, Kyle Monangai will be RB2 by year's end. That's obviously barring a running back trade. Obviously, if you're going Breece Hall becomes your 1 or your 2. He doesn't stay. You're giving him a contract. He's staying here long term. The doubts are on Swift. Roschon Johnson's still locked down for another year in the first place. And you're kind of just wiping the slate and going kind of into the future. However, if that doesn't happen, I think Kyle Monangai becomes RB2. The reason why I think that is his run blocking, or his pass blocking, I should say, he does not shy away with it. He will stick his face mask in a guy's face mask or a guy's chest and make a block. Now, he's a willing blocker, probably needs some work on technique. You can get away with it at the college level. That will be taught by Eric Bellamy. Sure, that portion. Guys like Adrian Peterson and guys that Eric Bellamy has coached, those in the Chiefs organization before he's gone elsewhere. Those ones were very well coached in those teams, and I feel very strongly that Kyle Monangai by year's end will be a more complete back than Roschon Johnson. Now, you're not asking Kyle Monangai to be some fast guy. What you're asking him to do is grind out the big yards that you need between the tackles and just grind those out and just grind those hard yards. I could be absolutely wrong with this. This is the wildest one, I think. It's not even number 7 is wild. But I think Kyle Monangai and Hippolyte, probably 1 or 6 of the wildest ones probably out of this. 7, we will have a 4,000 yard passer in Caleb Williams this year. I think that is going to be the case. There's too many weapons here. You have Ben Johnson. You're going to have a lot of different things. You're going to see a lot of different looks, some screens, some backfield play. You could see some pitches. You could see some wild stuff. And I think with Caleb, you're going to see some design plays that get the ball in the playmaker's hands in ways that maybe we should have seen last year, but veteran play callers are just better at it. That's what it comes down to. They're just better at it. And a fun one for you. If you didn't know, Trapilo was a tight end in high school. I think we will see a package where Trapilo he's going to catch a pass this season. Will it be in the end zone? I think it would be, hilariously enough, a 3 tight end set goal line. You have Loveland, Komet in there. You also have, say, Amagaji on, say, the left tackle, which would be interesting. Then maybe for this play, you pull, you have him on the left tackle, and maybe you stack Trapilo out there. Maybe you still have Braxton Jones, and you put Braxton Jones out there at left tackle. and you stack the left side, and Trapilo catches a touchdown pass. That would be wild. But I think we could see it. I really do. We can see some things kind of put out with like Sewell did last year. But the fact that Trapilo has caught was a tight end in high school, I think we could see some wild stuff. So there's my 7 hot takes for this year. 15 minutes. We'll see how this ultimately works. Of course, the season is going to be fun. We'll see what the schedule kind of holds. I'm thinking that the Eagles are probably week 1 in Philly. First game. It just seems like the biggest thing of having the biggest coaching hire on the biggest stage. Week 1. Put it all out there and just run with it. Could be what it is. But I could also see a week 1 Lions-Bears game. Just right off the bat. I could also see that. So, thanks for hanging out. We'll leave a like below, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to kind of sprinkle in these in the channel. We'll be talking about the Bears. We'll be talking about like a couple of random things. I want to put a video out like this a week. Maybe talking about what's going on, if anything new comes out. And then kind of going from there and make it a habit. And as we run into the season, I think about doing some kind of after show type deal, either on Monday or on Sunday, kind of going through that. And I think that would be interesting as well. We talk about the Bears game and go through that. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Go check out everything else on this channel, and I will see you guys next time. Later.